Hi friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abair, and this is where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about accessing your greatness. And it comes through what I'm calling the point of humble access, which defies most definitions of what you might call advancement. If you're interested in accessing your greatness, stick around. Several years ago, something deep within me felt like a promotion. I wanted a promotion. I wanted to advance in my life. I can't describe exactly what prompted that feeling, but initially, that feeling led to a search outside of myself. This feeling of wanting to be promoted. At the time, I was in higher education and was enjoying a prosperous career. But this feeling of advancement, I couldn't shake it. Maybe you would call it a sense of, I wanted to feel this sense of greatness in me. So I started pursuing what that might mean. For someone in my level of higher education training and experience, I was at what was called associate professor. This is the middle tier. You have lower tiers like maybe visiting assistant professor, then assistant professor, then associate professor, and then what you would call full professor with full tenure, full benefits and pay. You were at the top, like there could not be any more to advance, unless, of course, you go into administration. So I started to explore those avenues of advancement. I thought first, as an associate professor, one of the things I could do to advance myself in this, to try to feel how I could honor this sense of promotion, would be to go into lower levels of administration. So I became department chair. And that felt like a demotion. And I also contemplated beginning my full professor paperwork application kind of thing. And none of that felt like a promotion. It felt like, it felt lower. So maybe I needed a new job. Maybe I needed to go to a more prestigious university. And then I realized that this sense of promotion or advancement or greatness could not be achieved with an outward additive. That the promotion that I sought was in something that became very clear to me. Humility, servanthood, compliance, suppleness, dignity, and respect. That's how you access what you might call greatness. The Old Testament is filled with characters who felt this very deep sensation within themselves. Now, let me be very clear here. This is not a feeling of being a piece of shit. This is not that. It has nothing to do with worthlessness in that sense that I am just a peon, a pauper, a beggar. Those kinds of labels. Humility is the access point to what you might consider the kingdom of heaven. And that's the word that Jesus used, the kingdom of heaven, which I think is a wonderful word, the word kingdom. Because that word implies a realm or the sky. In Spanish, heaven is cielo, which means the sky, which is the implication of this supple, soft spaciousness, which begins to access your humility, your greatness. And you'll look for it in outward ways. You'll try to become great in a skill or in outward ways. But you will realize that that is an emptiness that never seems to have an end. You know, we often use language like, oh, such and such has it made, right? Or you might wonder, when am I ever going to make it? And even billionaires are striving to make it. That's because this metric of advancement is very hard to describe. In the story of David, he was a shepherd boy, yet he felt something inside of him was to advance him, that he was to be promoted. Not that he would promote himself with any unusual skill. He was going to be promoted not with sheer strength, position, power, influence, money, degrees. He was just a little shepherd boy. But yet he felt this amazing potency or potential. And, well, the story goes, with a slingshot, he obliterated the obstacle. With a tiny toy. And so these people in the Old Testament, which are mythological, there may have been a David, I don't know, and there may have been a Moses, but it's the mythological story of Moses using a staff. A staff. It's like Harry Potter. Just a magic wand. No skill, no education, no influence, just a stick. Which is a symbolic of a deep, deep servanthood. And this is what accesses greatness. Serving something that you sense is promoting you, something greater. That is you. You are the greatness, but not in a way that looks down on people, but that gives them encouragement. And so this kingdom, this realm of spirituality that is very, very difficult to talk about, is a posture of humility that accesses all sorts of great treasure and possibility. But in order to do that, you must be exposed to your fears. You must be pushed closer and closer to your fears without any tools, without any resources, without any influence, without any knowledge. It's like the universe is throwing you to the dogs to show the dogs they don't need to bite and bark. And you humbly accept your mission to be a symbol of the power of servanthood. And so that's why the spiritual path is often considered narrow, tiny. It requires you to get soft. It requires you to get supple and invisible. And to expose your vulnerability, because that's all we have. Weirdly, your superpower is humility, suppleness, ease, composure, alertness, formlessness. Your sure defense is to be defenseless. And that's how you access your greatest treasure. One of the places to begin is to imagine your own funeral. What do you want people to say about you once you leave this great life of ours? He sure worked a lot of hours at the office. He was never there for his family, but he made lots of money. He didn't listen much. He was gone at the office all the time. And he became CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Good for him. You see, that's one. Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about the hero racking up all sorts of externalities. Maybe you might say he had a Purple Heart and he had all these accolades, but really, when you get down into the fine print of a eulogy or an obituary, it's about being a good father. It's about serving the community. It's about making people laugh. It's about inspiring people. See, that's what makes you remember. That's what makes you remember a human being. How they loved you. What I remember about administrators and people in high places is how crappy they were. How power hungry they were. How utterly pitiful they were. I want you to imagine what would be said at the funerals of our current highest ranking political servants. Sure was fun to be around. She inspired us. She gave us purpose, hope. She allowed us to discover our potential. Let's write the obituary of people in high places now. They scare me to death. They're hard. They're violent. That's what I would say in the eulogy of our current political climate. If everybody in Congress suddenly passed away and I had to give a collective eulogy, I'd go... However, they have families. Their softest is known in secret. People in high places give their spouses kisses. Like, I love you, sweetie snookums. And the Apostle Paul says, let your softness be known. If you really want to be a great person, let your softness be known. And how you do that is approach every moment with great dignity, reverence, and respect. You let your guard down. And when you become sort of like a child and you have this levity and invitation, you coax out the best in people. The best in people are childlike. The best in people, it's like a child. Everybody's a child and they don't realize it. If you want to get a kid to do something, turn it into a fun game. Isn't this fun? Find a way to coax the spirit rather than provoke the ego. And your greatness and your softness will come out. But there's a certain dignity. Even to the most egoic person, you salute their divinity. Namaskar. I acknowledge your deity. And deity is very much like the spirit of a well-behaved dog. If you really want to see what God is like, go look at your dog, spelled backwards. It's just this. That's really who you are. Not the aggressive dog that's trying to protect her brood. That's animalistic. See, that's the side we're trying to not bring out. He made us laugh. He made us inspired. He encouraged us. He played with us. He made us feel welcome. He inspired us. And he loved everybody. That's letting your softness be known. It's called being gregarious. Respectful. Even if the person you know the most. See, we're invasive. We don't approach humble access. We don't keep that composure in that space and that dignity and that respect for everything. Even so-called rude drivers, stupid people, a crazy world. I respect the crazy world. I don't even call it crazy. I respect the dignity of the moment, and I keep a spacious openness. Let your softness be known, and you will access your greatness. Expose yourself to what you're afraid of. Relax in the face of fear. Don't approach the throne, knees knocking. Don't storm the fortress. Squeeze through, unscathed, invisible, and bring that levity, that childlikeness, and dare I say even some humor to the most severe case. And your greatness will be known. My name is Ryan Hebert. If you enjoyed these insights, I would encourage you to check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com. Thank you for watching.